Guys, it has been a busy week. We made it to Friday. I haven't posted in a bit. I've recorded. I just decided not to post what I recorded for a couple days. I've been posting elsewhere though. I've been working on some projects. So timeline, since that other gig didn't work out, the commission only, I decided to just mass apply within my experience level, and lo and behold, I got a lot of responses from the mental health world, trying not to go back to the same exact job that I had, preferring remote work. Right now I'm kind of debating between two options where I'm going into the second round of interviews. One is full-time, fully remote with benefits, pretty much the same pay as I was getting. The other one is part-time, hybrid, about 30 or so minutes away. No benefits, 15 to 20 hours a week, but I would have to come into the office. I think I'd rather go for the full-time one, even though the hybrid one is kind of more my style of what I want to do. But thinking for financial planning, the full-time that's fully remote might be best. I could probably keep that role longer, and I could still travel with having that role and test out, for a month or two, probably staying in a couple different states maybe, versus a hybrid one. I'd be making less money because I'd be working less time, and I'd be having to come into the office, I don't know how often every week, but at least once a week, if not more. So, and it wouldn't be every day. 15 to 20 hours a week isn't like every day. It wouldn't be every single day. Both jobs would be weekdays. And so mental health sites are hiring because around May and June they lose a lot of their free labor, their interns, or their I don't want to call it low level, their low I don't know how to describe it. There's like certain tiers of types of labor. When you're an intern, you're not always getting paid, or some people get paid and then they are earning a degree, and when they get their degree, they move up. They're getting a degree or they're getting a licensure. And so there are a lot of phases in the realm of psych. So this place, a lot of places are having that issue right now. The pay is not competitive. 25 before taxes in Southern California is not a competitive wage when you have a master's degree. It's not, and so that for me is kind of like the downside. But also, goal number one, continue replacing the funds that I spent in 2020 23, those fun funds that I took out to spend. And then from there, continue investing. I mean, that is investing. I want to replace those investment funds that I took out of my retirement. And then this is probably going to be the best year in a while to invest. It might continue into 2025. I don't really know. But the economy, yes, the economy sucks. But investment-wise, it's low. Like, a lot of things have dipped. And so now is a decent time to buy. Because we know it's going to go up in 5 to 10 years if the market continues and we don't have a complete wipeout of our system as we know it. If things stay on trend, we're likely to see this low season increasing over time. Because right now we're in an economic crash. This is my second economic crash that I'm experiencing firsthand in my career. The first one was when I had just graduated from my master's program, and this is my second economic crash. When I left the job that I was in to pursue other endeavors, education-wise, training-wise, portfolio-wise, and I'm still working on those. I'm still working hard on my portfolio, and I think it's gotten my foot into a couple doors. I mean, so some tips for anybody who is looking for at least getting your foot in the door with interviews. And I might do a more extensive episode on this, but just for now, if you have work experience, that's good. Applying within where you have experience is helpful. If you can play the numbers game and applying through sites like LinkedIn, Indeed, sites that show you how many people have applied for a certain job role, you can kind of play the numbers game that way, because it's different if like 500 people have applied versus like 6 people. Now, there might be a negative reason why only 6 people applied, but if you have more applicants, you are probably set for I guess more applicants means that the job is more desirable. It might also just mean that the application itself is easier, like pressing easy apply or like an instant, apply now kind of button, and then it just loads your information and you don't have to go through the lengthy application process. More people are going to apply to those types of jobs. Usually the higher pay rate, the better benefits, people are going to apply to those types of jobs. Filling out and optimizing your LinkedIn, playing this whole like optimization and algorithm game with your profiles, that's going to be important. Following the up-to-date rules, like getting over 500 connections within fields that you want to connect to. So getting over 500 connections, then it shows that you just have 500 plus. I have like 600 something right now. I just keep adding people who try to add me, or, I find other people along the way. When I apply, I try to connect to companies that seem like places where I'd want to be connected with. Sometimes I delete them if it just doesn't seem like I want to see what they have to say ever, or if somebody's trying to communicate with me and it's just like they're trying to schedule, like I've had some people try to schedule things with me, interviews, and then they never followed up. I'll probably delete them. Or people who, I've applied to some jobs that they seemed like they wanted me to buy services from them. I've kind of deleted those people. So there's like some that just weren't good fits where I'm just like, this is not what I was here for, so I'm just not going to entertain it too much. Like, not in a mean way, it's just I'm not there for people to be like pitching to me, like buy our services, get our subscription for whatever thing they're selling. It's like I wasn't on here for that. I'm trying to get my own employment settled. But that's probably what I would say. Learn and update your resumes, update your CV, have some general cover letters, and different types of resumes. If you're applying to certain jobs, if there's like a job center with the free job counselors, have somebody overlook your stuff. Follow some of the job people on YouTube. See what those people say about resumes. I know Josh Madakor for cybersecurity had a good resume for cybersecurity that he kind of posted for free. There's another guy who kind of posts a whole lot of content. Try to connect with recruiters, because that at least gives you the 15-minute screening if you somewhat meet the criteria based on their based on what they see from your application. Try to contact the recruiters and get in with them and just be like, hey, I submitted my application. Can we talk more about this job position? Here's the times I'm available, or I'm flexible for other times for conversation. They are incentivized to get you hired, because if you get hired and stay on for a certain amount of time, they get a commission off of you. And so they likely will screen you. And if you do meet criteria and do good in the screening, you'll likely get a solid interview. At least if there's 2 or 3 rounds of interviews, you'll at least get the first interview usually. And so those are ways to get in the door. There are events locally. I know in the tech world there's more of this kind of community events. Some of them are free, some of them aren't. But networking, there might be professional groups for women, professional groups for men, professional groups for minority groups, for Black people, for Muslim people, for Christian people, for Arabic speaking people, for African people. There's different professional groups in different niches or different categories of careers and job spaces, that it might be worth connecting with people just to have some sense of community, especially if you're doing remote types of work. So those are some options you'll have. I would say don't be afraid to pop around jobs. If you're like me and you've been like, okay, I'm going to stay in the same job like almost forever, it might be a little complex to be like, okay, like there's all these jobs out here and I don't really want them. My approach right now, and you don't have to follow my approach. Make your own approach that fits you. But I'm just explaining in case people have no direction on where to go. I would say, see what's a good approach for you. Like I was saying, I don't really want to be working back in mental health, but I have found that they're the ones who respond. Now, there are other jobs in the mental health field that are not completely clinical roles, and they're more tech-related jobs. So I can do tech-related stuff, I can do clinical-related stuff, and I can also do research-related stuff, all within the mental health world. if you don't sign a contract, you're not beholden to a company. So I don't feel like it's any of their business. I know they're always going to say, oh, we want someone to stay on long term, and how long do you plan on staying? If they don't make you sign a contract that says I'm going to stay for 6 months, I'm going to stay for 2 years or whatever, you are free to do what you want to do. I don't feel like you have to lie, but I also don't feel like you are obligated to companies. I mean, what if it's just not a good fit once you start working there? What if the people are jerks? What if it's like they pay you late? What if it's just too much of a fast pace? It's not good for your health. What if it's just not a good fit? You won't know sometimes till you start working there. So there is no way to really guarantee that you're going to be able to stay at a job site. I mean, yeah, you can tough it out, but I don't think you can tell somebody for sure in an interview, yes, Like what I usually tell people is the truth, which is I tend to stay at jobs long term. I don't like bouncing around different jobs. I like to learn a job and get good at it and improve. And that's been my experience with my professional career. And that's the truth. It doesn't mean that I'm saying I'm going to stay. I mean, these jobs that I'm talking about with this interview process currently, I wouldn't see myself staying. To be honest, in a hybrid role, I wouldn't want to stay because I'd have to be stuck in LA, and it's part-time, so I can't live off of part-time work. So that's not going to work. I already know that's not going to work forever, but I like the option of for now for that site. The other site, full-time remote, it's maybe too similar to what I was doing, and the pay is similar to what I was getting paid, so it's really not that competitive. And again, I can't live off of it the way that I want to for the actual goal that I want as far as my financial future. For my financial future right now, any of these options would be fine, because the goal is to continue replacing the other money that I need to put back into my retirement. And I can do that with any job, even the jobs I've been doing, and the gigs and stuff. I can do that. But it's a little tiring working for myself. It's kind of getting a little, it's not that it's not interesting. It's just that, I have to put money into it as well. Advertising wise and traffic wise, to kind of get where I'm trying to go. And that's not bad, but it is a little complicated to be popping from project to project, and so those are kind of the tips I could recommend at the moment for people. If you don't have any experience, find a way to get some kind of experience, whether it's interning, volunteering, working for free. There are methods out there. I mean, building your own portfolio. I've literally done work for people without them even knowing who the heck I am, and working for free, like going on a blog and being like, this blog is pretty sparse. They don't have a lot of content on here. Let me run up 2 pieces of new content for them for free, SEO optimized, and just send it. That goes in my portfolio. These people, their email ads that I'm getting from them for whatever product is, maybe they have typos, maybe they're, I can go in and edit one of the ads I get from them and then create a new ad and be like, if you're making a new campaign to post this week, maybe try this one. I mean, this is free work, and just sending it to the people and just being like, here's an option. If you want to use it, use it. If you don't. If you want to hire me, hire me. If you want to hire me for part of this project or future projects, just keep my name on file. Here's something free for you from me. Those are ad campaigns that are mine. They're mine. I wrote them. I wrote the blog post. I made the podcast episode. I created this for these other people who need the content. I find holes in the content, and I go and I just make them content that's right, or look at their website and I'm like, yeah, your website could be better if you did this or that or this or that. Do a website audit or a partial audit for something. Provide them free value and just do this for like 5-6 companies. It can take you a while. Provide them each like 2 pieces of content. You have 10 to 12 pieces of content for your portfolio. You can ask them what they think, get their opinions, put that as reviews. You've already built a portfolio of 12 pieces of work that have reviews attached to some of them, with people saying that it's good work. You might get hired off of that, you might not. But that's probably the easiest way to build a portfolio, is just doing the work without having to wait for somebody else to hire you. And, then seeing if you can maybe get an internship from there or something. Like I talked about the internship that I was in, that the person quit, and you have to deal with stuff like that, like it's not fun to be doing work for free and expecting to get something free in return, which is just like a signature, and then the person just like says, sorry, I can't do it anymore, bye, and then they leave, and then you're just like left like, okay, like that sucks, like what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You can't really do anything. They decide to quit, they leave you kind of hanging, and you gotta figure it out from there. But don't get too discouraged. Keep planning. Keep with the gig work that works for you. Instacart, Uber Eats, whatever you can find that's like quick stuff, quick money. Keep that quick money coming in your pocket. And then from there, get going from there. It's not easy these days, but the good part about the internet is if you're trying to get tech-related work, you can make it yourself. You can make your own work. You can make your own portfolio. You don't need, some company to like hire you right away, And then when you start applying to these companies and getting your foot in the door and talking to the recruiters and like having your website on your LinkedIn and being like, oh yeah, not only do I have a resume and this cover letter and my CV, you can check out my website and see what I've done and see the reviews and see all my content that's on there of stuff that I have provided that I can prove that I know how to do, and more. Like this is just a small sample. I can do more, and seeing what it is that the jobs that you want you to have experience doing, and finding a way to get that experience, and then clearly laying it out in your resume or in your cover letter and saying in detail, I worked with this many clients on these types of projects, I provided this many blog posts, or I provided this put some metrics in there, put some numbers in there. I was working with clients. I held a caseload of 65 clients for 2.5 years and 25 high risk or whatever. Like, put some numbers in there. And the people who know what it looks like will look at your numbers and they'll be like, wow, like you hit productivity for like 5 years straight. Like you got 3 awards in 5 years, you got promoted twice, like this is the kind of stuff. Also, they're not going to read your resumes and cover letters all the time. So make sure you mention this kind of stuff, when they start asking you in interviews and stuff, like, what's your experience? What do you know about this job? What can tell us something about you? What are your strengths? You don't have to brag, but like mention it. Don't not mention it, because they might never read your paperwork. They might never read your application ever. So you got to tell them some of this stuff, Tell them what they need to hear, and be honest. And if you want the job, go get it. Get in with the recruiters. Keep getting interviews. Keep scheduling interviews. Interviewing is tiring. They're going to keep, with a lot of back and forth. Don't do drugs if they're drug testing you. There's a lot of things to consider. But, you can do it. You can do it. It's not easy, but you can do it. And, just trying to make sure you're just building up with things, on point with things. You can build up by yourself, you don't have to wait that long for, yeah, maybe you want someone else to hire you to volunteer and do all this kind of stuff, but if it's an online related field where you could just do that by yourself, try doing it by yourself while you're looking for other things, because that'll put you ahead, and you won't be just only spending your time applying. You'll be actually doing the applied work, even if it is for free. I mean, these days you kind of got to work for free a little bit. If you don't have any experience, you're going to have to find a way to get that experience. Sometimes that means working for very little, or working for free, or just making your own projects and being like, look, I did it by myself, or taking course projects. If you take free or paid courses, taking course projects, and even talking to the instructors or professors and being like, what's a similar project that I could do? Is there a project you could make for me? I mean, this sounds stupid to even say, but it's like, if you only have one project per class, you can duplicate those types of projects and be like, okay, they made me do like one advertising campaign example. I can take that advertising campaign example and apply it like 6 other times on my own, for other things, for my own projects, and just be like, look, I made all these advertising campaigns. I did all this with this budget. I did that with that, that was available to me. You can get far that way. You can get pretty far. So, don't underestimate, how far you can get on your own. Because once you start getting your foot in the door, you'll have something to show, versus being like, oh, I don't have any experience doing this, or I've never done this, or I've never done that. You're going to have some kind of experience, and a portfolio is a good way to show it. All the social media related stuff is a really good way to show it, so long as it's like appropriate. You don't want to be, I don't know. There's some stuff you might not want to post and show, but having a designated space for that. You don't even really have to pay for .com, honestly. Like I mentioned, you could set up WordPress.org through 000 web host, make your own website. It won't have a .com extension. It'll be like .123zx or something, but it'll work for you. And I mean, these are just starting ideas, depending what phase you're at, and then continuing to work gigs, continuing to work at jobs that you might not even really like, just to get your foot in the door, saving money, investing that money, either into projects or other things that's gonna set you ahead, and keeping the momentum up. I know it's not easy to do that, but doing what you can to do that. Alright, I think that's all I've got going for today. It's almost 8 o'clock. I got some food in the oven, so I need to go get my food out of the oven. And then that's it for now. Have a good day, guys.